Hello and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about the episode 4 and 5 of The Last of Us. Just a quick breakdown and then we're going to talk about which of these episodes was my favourite. So a quick breakdown of episode 4. In this episode we get to see a lot more of Joel and Ellie. We get to see a lot more of their relationship building, and we get to see how Joel is starting to take on a more fatherly figure towards Ellie. I feel like you see a bit more emotional side of Joel. So this episode, it starts off with Joel and Ellie in a car. They get attacked by some armed people, and in this episode we get to see the fact that Ellie handles a gun. She basically shoots someone that's trying to attack Joel and saves his life. She attacks him, but she injures the person. She doesn't actually kill him. And we've also find out in this episode that it's not the first time that Ellie has actually used a gun. So Ellie has used a gun in the past, and you get to see her open up to Joel more. And we also get to meet someone called Kathleen, who is actually in search of a guy called Henry, because apparently this guy has killed her brother. So she is who is after Joel and Ellie, thinking there's two people on the loose, and she thinks that Joel and Ellie, these two people that they've sighted, which is why they get attacked by these armed people. And this is why obviously Joel then attacks this guy in this episode, where although Ellie injures this guy, she gets to see the nasty part where Joel actually kills this guy. And this is done for survival. And I see how Ellie has a little bit of a soft side, but she understands why Joel had to kill this guy in order to survive. We've got some interesting parts in this show, and one of the parts that I really like is the fact that how Joel is showing Ellie how to use the gun. There's a lot of little banter going on, but yet you can see how he wants her to be strong, how he wants to make sure that she's safe. So again, you get to see that father figure Joel coming out. I feel that in this episode we get to see the hard exterior of Joel kind of fading away and being replaced by a bit more of a warm figure, especially towards Ellie. I don't feel like he's strong. He still wants to, the character is able to show that hard side when he needs to towards others, yet he's warming up to Ellie. And we get to see this especially when they're in the room and they're ready to go to sleep, and you see Ellie and Joel having this really cool questioning going on, where Ellie's asking a lot of personal questions. She comes out with this joke, which is kind of like the ultimate dad joke, and the way they laugh about this joke, you can really see and you can really feel the emotion. I feel really happy when I saw this, because I feel like you can really see that bond building between the two, and I absolutely loved that about this part of the show. And so basically you get to see the barrier between Joel and Ellie break slowly. You can see a dip in it. You can see they're getting a bit closer. They're asking each other questions. They're telling each other things more about themselves. It ends on an intense part where we get to see Joel sleeping and Ellie calling out for Joel. And there's two guys that are pointing a gun at Joel and Ellie at this point. And this is where episode 4 ends. So moving on, we get to move on to episode 4, where we get to see these two guys pointing a gun at Joel and Ellie, and these two guys happen to be Henry and Sam. Henry is who Kathleen is out looking for, and Sam happens to be Henry's brother. So Henry and Sam are out there alone, and they are pointing a gun at Ellie and Joel. And at this point, I'm thinking, are they going to shoot them? The intention looked like they were going to shoot, but it takes a different turn. So we get to see Henry making an offer to Joel. Now Henry, like I said, is out there with his brother. He's protecting his brother called Sam. Sam is actually deaf. The offer that Henry and Sam make to Joel and Ellie is that they will show them a way to get out, and Joel needs to help them get rid of any clickers or bloaters that might come in their way, because they've obviously, although they've got a gun, we find out that Henry's not actually used a gun. So here we are with Joel being again the protector of, obviously they are all kids at this stage. Henry's a little older, and we get Sam, who's a lot younger. What I really like about this episode, actually what I really love about this episode, is how how Sam and Ellie are towards each other, and it's so interesting to see them building a bond, them getting on with each other, their laughs and jokes. And from this you can really see that Ellie's never been around people her age, and you can really tell that she's enjoying this new relationship that she's formed with Sam. She's enjoying being a child, and this is what you see the child in Ellie come out here. So she's excited. There's a point where they've got all these like games and things, and they just want to enjoy themselves, forget about what's going on, and just live in the moment. And you really see that with Sam and Ellie at this point. They're just enjoying their childhood. While Joel, Ellie and Sam and Henry are on their journey to trying to get out, they are then found by Kathleen, who again is armed with people and is ready to shoot Henry. And they come across this place where Joel overtakes a guy that's actually got a gun. At this point he goes into the house, and you can see how Joel is very protective towards Ellie, because when you find and you see Kathleen trying to attack Ellie, Sam and Henry, you really see him focusing on saving Ellie. Intense scene when Kathleen and her crew turn up, and there's this strange noise, and these hundreds and thousands of clickers and things come out of this underground. And instead of shooting Sam, Henry and Ellie, Kathleen and her crew have to focus on obviously getting rid of these clickers before they can do anything. So we get to see a lot of action, a lot of clickers. The clickers scene is intense. We get to see this big bloater, something completely different. He's harder to kill. We get to see Joel trying to shoot him. We get to see other people trying to shoot him, and it's just a gruesome but awesome scene at the same time. We see the fear in each of these kids' eyes, especially Ellie and Sam, who are really frightened. We see how Ellie saves Sam. Yet again, you see their relationship is coming through and how much she's beginning to care for Sam. And yeah, so we move on to the bit where they actually are able to run away from these clickers and bloaters. And we also get to see Kathleen, who's still after Sam and Henry, and she gets attacked by the bloater. So they make their escape at this point. Once they've escaped, they go into a house and they're just generally talking. We get to see Ellie and Sam back in a room where they are having this deep conversation, very intense, and you can see that they're both scared. They both fear something, and Sam is scared of these clickers and bloaters and what's going to happen, and whether you turn. And Ellie is fighting on being alone, and this really tells you something about Ellie. Shows you that she really needs interaction. She's not been around people, and having Joel is obviously a necessity for her, because again we find out her fear is to being alone, and she's obviously scared of losing someone close to her, as is Joel. So they're both in the same kind of boat at this point. And at this point where we see them having this conversation, Sam reveals to Ellie that he's been bit. And for me, this scene is really like emotional, and it's the best scene so far of episode 5. You see her slit herself and actually put her blood over where Sam has been bit, and in thinking that she could potentially save him. In this next scene, you get to see Sam sitting up on bed, but his back turned, and you got Ellie who wakes up, and she straight away goes up to Sam, and the shock of it all is he's actually turned and he attacks her, and she wasn't expecting that. She doesn't fight him off, and it's quite scary, because like you can really see the fear in Ellie's eyes at this point. She's not sure what to do. Henry on instinct kind of shoots Sam, and because he can't deal with what's happened, it's again a gruesome scene where he shoots himself, sadly. So this is the part where it ends in the episode, where you see Joel and Ellie burying Sam and Henry, and it's really sad to watch this, because you could really see that Ellie was building a relationship with Sam. She was enjoying having other people around, the interaction, and you can see a little bit of a different Joel coming through, and you can still see Joel act a lot differently towards Ellie than he did towards the beginning of the show. So that's the end of the breakdown of the episode 4 and 5 of The Last One. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you are, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Now, what I wanted to really say is that out of the two, my favourite had to be episode 5. I felt like episode 5 you get to see a little bit more of a relationship building between Ellie and Sam, and I feel like we get to learn a little bit more about Ellie. We get to see more clickers, we get to see a little bit of action, we get to see how Joel is acting towards Ellie, especially when he has to shoot down the clickers, and you can really see him focusing on Ellie each time to make sure that she's safe before he saves anyone else. And she's his top priority right now, and you can really see that, and you can see a little bit of a warmer character coming through for Joel. Even though we saw this warmer character sort of starting to come through in episode 4, we get to see more of it in episode 5. It'd be interesting to know and see what happens next, who they meet on along their journey. So we know that Kathleen's now dead. She was the one that was after Henry, so that was one of the reasons they were attacked. Getting to see more and more more and more of a different storyline, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So like I said, episode 5 was my favourite, because and the fact that they're building a good relationship, and I'm enjoying that interaction so far. So I hope you guys are enjoying The Last of Us so far. If you did enjoy this episode, then do leave me a like, a comment below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I look forward to meeting you guys in one of my next videos. Thank you so much for watching.